Shalom Aleichem, Erev Tov, and we're with our weekly story before we start our weekly class in the Dvar Malchus. And this week's story is actually connected with the holy day of Lag BaOmer and many other things as well, as we'll be listening and hearing in the continuation. But first and foremost, this is a story about it's a first-hand story told by Rabbi Moshe Weiss. Moshe Weiss, who is actually he's a peer of mine back in the days when I was studying as a bacher in 770 by the Rebbe. I remember him quite well. Many of you might have been or might be familiar with his father, Rabbi Weiss of California, who actually became a very wealthy person, a very wealthy man through the brachas of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach in regard to nursing homes. And it's a story on its own. But here, when we're talking about his son was Bishar Tevel. He was married many years, but unfortunately, they didn't merit to receive children. No. What does a person do? They try everything they can, but with all the efforts, there were no children. On Lag BaOmer, years afterwards, after the marriage, so their father in California, someone speaks to the father and they tell the father, "Listen, what are you doing here? Today is Lag BaOmer." He says, "So?" He says, "Your children. They're married. Your son's married quite a few years. And he doesn't have any children yet." He says, "Yes." He says, "Don't you know? Today is Lag BaOmer. It's the day of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. This is the day that the Rebbe gives out blank checks in order to receive children. So what are you doing here? Get on a plane, get to New York from California, and ask the Rebbe for a bracha." He was like so overwhelmed with the idea, so his friend said, "Get a move on." So he immediately booked a ticket, got into a taxi, went to LAX, got into the plane. He arrived Lag BaOmer. It was Lag BaOmer day. He arrived in New York. Needless to say, Lag BaOmer is one of the most busiest days that the Rebbe has. The Rebbe goes to the oil that day. It's almost compared to like Erev Rosh Hashanah, Erev Yom Kippur. And with all this, Rabbi Weiss of California was able to get a yechidus by the Rebbe. He goes into the yechidus and he starts crying, and he says, "Rebbe, today is the day of Rashbi. Today is the day of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai." And the Rebbe is looking on, and he says, "Rebbe, give me a blessing for my son to have children." The Rebbe looks with very sympathetic eyes at Rabbi Weiss, and he says, in emotions to himself, he says, so what do you want from me?" So he says, "Rebbe, give me a blessing for my son." He says, "You said it's Rashbi's day. It's Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's day. Go and pray and ask Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai for a bracha for your son." Rabbi Weiss started to cry even more. And he says, "Rebbe, you're my Rashbi. You're my Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai." As if to say, 2,000 years ago, we're talking about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the great Talmudic scholar. I didn't have an opportunity to meet him. I don't know who he is. I only know about him, and I know that we're celebrating this day for him. But as far as I'm concerned, you're my Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and I'm asking you to give me a bracha from Hashem for my son to have children." The Rebbe gave a small smile, and then the Rebbe said, "I give a bracha for your son to have children." No, Rabbi Weiss stopped crying. He said thank you to the Rebbe, turned around, left the room. No, a year goes by, and what does everyone think? Of course, it's a Rebbe story. Rebbe gives a bracha for a child. So what was the conclusion? No children. What? No children? The Rebbe gave a bracha. The Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai of our generation gave a bracha for children, and there was no children. What's going on? And needless to say again, that when the father came home to California and told his daughter-in-law the Rebbe gave a bracha, and next year, Bezrat Hashem, we'll be holding a son, a grandson. They were totally overwhelmed and mixed up. How could this be? They themselves, the children, Rabbi Moshe Weiss and his wife got on a plane. They went to the Rebbe. They also were able to get into Yechidus, and they told the Rebbe, we don't understand. They were apologetic, but they were very demanding. The Rebbe, you gave us a blessing through our father last year, and we waited a whole year, and there's still no children. In other words, Rebbe, you promised, and the promise didn't come to fruition yet. And the Rebbe looks at them, and the Rebbe says, you should go to a doctor. You should go and receive counseling from a doctor. And they said, okay. They didn't say, listen, we were already we had treatments, and we went to doctors, and this. They accepted. The Rebbe says, go to a doctor. They'll go to a doctor. They went to 3 specialists in the field, and they received 3 similar replies from each and every one of the 3 doctors. All the doctors said that as far as the channels of nature are concerned, it's impossible for you, both of you, to have children. Signed, sealed, delivered. That's it. It's impossible. They were totally broken, but they didn't lose their faith. Totally broken, they again get on a plane, and they arrive by the Rebbe, and somehow again get in for Yechidus, and they tell the Rebbe, the Rebbe gave a blessing to our father, and then we came the year afterwards, and the Rebbe, you gave us a blessing to go to a doctor. We didn't go to 1 doctor, we went to 3 doctors, and then the conclusion is, from all the doctors, that there's no way under the sun, as far as the course of nature is concerned, that we can have children. So Rebbe, what are we to do? The Rebbe looks at them, and the Rebbe says, listen, I told you to go to a doctor that will help you have children. I never sent you to a doctor or doctors that will tell you that you can't have children. Go to a doctor that will help you have children. And this is something that is very difficult to understand. Because what the Rebbe is actually saying here in retrospect is, I already gave you the bracha. The child is already here. The only thing you need is to find the right conduit to reveal the child in the world. You're revealing conduits that are telling you the opposite. That's not the place to go. If you really want to have a child, go to the doctor that will help you have a child. And this is exactly what they did. They went back to California. They dug under the ground until they found, literally until they found 1 doctor that told them, listen, can't give you any promises, but if we go and we have this procedure done, there's hope that you might have a child. This is already something that sounds like what the Rebbe was talking about. The doctor that'll help you have a child. A year goes by, and here, Rabbi Isai, Baruch Hashem, at the end of the year, they're already hugging a beautiful newborn child. Okay, we hear many miracle stories from the Rebbe, about children, about health, about parnasa, about shalom bayis, about everything under the sun. So what is this story so different from all the other stories? Okay, a miracle story. They asked for a blessing. The Rebbe gave a blessing. They had the child. But it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. It's literally like the story with the Baal Shem Tov the Saturday night after the students finished davening. They finished Meir. They were right before Havdalah. No one went anywhere. They were still all Shabbosdik. A woman comes in crying, and she says she needs 600 ruble in order to go and to marry off her daughter, and otherwise there won't be a marriage, and the other side is going to break off. And the Baal Shem Tov looked at her, and he told his students, everyone reach into their pockets and take out money to give to this woman. The woman gave an exact number, 600 rubles. Every one of the students of this Baal Shem Tov reached into their pockets, took out money, gave the woman. When they went and they added up the entire sum, it was exactly the sum that the woman asked for. So what's the big deal? Okay, so the Baal Shem Tov went and had the money, gave the money to the woman. But there was no, it was Motzei Shabbos. Okay, so the Baal Shem Tov made a miracle, and the money appeared in the pockets of the students Motzei Shabbos. Forgot to mention the exact amount of money that was all put together from all the pockets of the students. It all added up to the 600 ruble that the woman, that was a small fortune, by the way, in those days, that the woman was asking for. Was that the miracle? No. Of course, these were miracles. But the miracle was that when the Baal Shem Tov told his students to put their hands into their pocket, having them knowingly, that they knew that Motzei Shabbos, they're all Shabbos, during the Shabbos, they had no money. Where are they going to have money in their pockets? They nevertheless listened to what the Baal Shem Tov, their Rebbe, said, and they put their hands in their pockets, they found the money, and so on. But this story is le'ein aroich, with no comparison greater, to a certain degree, greater than the story with the students of the Baal Shem Tov. Because here we're talking about Chassidim, that the Rebbe told them once to put their hand in the pocket, and there was no money in the pocket. And the Rebbe told them again, put your hand in the pocket, and there wasn't any money in the pocket. No children came. And again, until finally, they didn't break, they didn't leave their hope. They continued to remain devoted Hasidim to the Rebbe, until finally they were able to fulfill the instructions of the Rebbe, found the doctor that will give them children, and here, Baruch Hashem, they were able to have the child. This is what we have to understand when the Rebbe tells us that the Geula, the redemption, is here and now. It's right here and now in front of our eyes. All we have to do is to open our eyes to see the Geula, open our eyes to see Mashiach. So there's no place for despair. When the Rebbe says something, this is a fact, and it's already something that is here in this material world. It's not hovering over in the spiritual world. It's literally here with us. And this is something that we have to bear in mind every second of the day, every moment, in order for us to be able to finally merit, and Bezrat Hashem, it should be here and now, Teichef umiyad. Miyad, the Rebbe says in regard to Shavuos, it's correlating with the three major tzaddikim, Moshe Rabbeinu, the Mem that received Torah at Har Sinai, Shavuos, and Yud, Rabbi Yisrael Baal Shem Tov, who we know is Shavuos is the day of his passing, and Dalet, David HaMelech, David Malka Mashiach, of which we're told Shavuos is also the day of his passing. We should merit to see all three of them, Miyad, Moshe Rabbeinu, and Rabbi Yisrael Baal Shem Tov, who received personally from Moshiach the instruction and the blessing and the announcement, a Mosai Ka'osimar. In regard to your question that you asked me, the Moshiach said to the Baal Shem Tov, when am I going to appear? When your teachings, when the well springs of Hasidic philosophy break forward and burst out all over the world, and this is here and now, this is our day and age, and we see it all over the world. Baruch Hashem, Tanya is being not only printed. Someone showed me a clip this week. Our soldiers went into Rafiach, into Rafah. There were soldiers driving in a nakmash, in a long jeep, with the photocopy machine in order to print Tanya's in Rafah this week. Baruch Hashem. And this should bring the victory of all our soldiers without any injuries, and all those that have been Rahman al-Islam injured, they should be healed completely, 100%. And all those that are still Rahman al-Islam in captivity, they should be returned Teichef umiyad, mamish, healthy and 100% in all their machevorim, shasagidim, in all their gidim and evorim, and should be with the izgolos of the Rebbe, Melech Ha'Moshiach, on a good and revealed basis, techef umiyad, mamish, with all the intentions in the acronym of the word mamish as well. Yechi Adonenu Moreinu v'Rabbeinu HaMelech HaMoshiach Chai v'Kayom le'olam voed. Amen.